Okay, so my videos are starting without my help anymore. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. If you are new here, I am Lily of Lily's Book Vlog. And today is our February reading wrap up. I may have not read as many books, but the quantity is not going to matter because of the quality of these books, in my opinion. So, I read, I'm counting right? 6? I think there's 6, right? So, 6 books this month. 2 of them were mentioned in another video where I was looking for my very first 5-star read of 2026. And yet this month, so far, has had the most. And I only recorded one of them as my 5-star read. So in this month of February, I have 3 5-star reads. And as of this recording, I also have an additional one. So far in 2026, I have four 5-star reads that I have had. So it's starting off pretty good. I'm enjoying it. So the first one that we're going to talk about briefly is Apprentice to the Villain. This was one of my books that I was reading that is in fact a 5-star read. This is book 2 for Assistant to the Villain. I keep calling it the wrong name for some reason. Well, I know the reason. It's because all of the books in this series have it where they are A to the villain. So Assistant, Apprentice, Accomplice, and then the most recent one that's coming out is going to be Adversary. But yeah, so this one, if you want to know more, it is in my video of trying to find my first 5-star read in 2026. Loved it. Funny. I don't even think you can see it, but I did tab it a little bit. And for me, I haven't tabbed anything. So that's a pretty good sign that I really like the book so far. Next one was By the Horns. This one was book 2 from Bull Moon Rising of Ruby Dixon. And this one is pretty interesting. I think I gave this a 4-star. I liked it. It was just a little kind of slow in the beginning and stuff. And there's some stuff where it's like, the beginning is also like the first like chapter or 2 is very interesting, let's say. But basically this follows, what's her name? Gwenna. Gwenna is redoing the Artificer Guild challenge because she failed last time in the Bull Moon Rising book. And she basically is wanting to do it again. She's used to being a maid. She wants to really do this so she can do something for herself for once and not have to keep serving other people. She runs into Rafter, who is a Tauren, which is like a guy that's like kind of part bull. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but he's like a part bull. He basically looks like this, right? Face and all that. And they're mostly artificers. They're automatic because they're strength, speed, skills, all that. And they get sent for the things. He got injured in his last one because the guild he was in, there was someone who messed up majorly and he got hurt and stuff. And so the guild leaders are like, hey, let's use this to advantage. We have an issue. People are appearing dead and artifacts are going missing. So we want you to take a step back, look at the repeaters, and figure out who did it. So he ends up getting kind of demoted and forced to repeat training and all that to see about who the repeaters are and how they're basically getting away with it. And of course, he's with Gwenna, who is dealing with the fact that she keeps finding dead people because they keep talking to her. So she's having that issue while trying to also repeat. And it was pretty good and interesting. But again, there's just some stuff that it was like slow, very slow in the beginning, talking about the training again. And it's like in the first book, I feel like I got enough of that. And even though it's different training, it's still just repetitive and kind of annoying. So this was a 4-star. Not bad, not great, but it was decent enough. And then the next one. So in the month of February, I did my, what was it called? My TBR based on a little anagram of the word heart. So I DNF'd the H, which was hexed. I read some of it, just wasn't in it. The E we'll get into. The A was the apprentice to the villain, and the R was Ruthless Vows, which is book 2 in the Divine Rivals, which I have been putting off for so long because I kept hearing so many people talk about how they didn't like this one. And it made me pretty much scared because I love Divine Rivals. It was one of the probably first 5-star books I think I had. If not, it was definitely one that is very memorable to me and stuff, and I loved it. And so when everyone kept saying they didn't like this one, it made me very nervous to read it. And I get where people are coming from as I read this, because again, I did read the reviews back then of it, where a lot of people didn't like the fact that there was less of a romance between Roman and Iris, and there was more talk about the gods and what this war was about, right? That they're in and stuff. But the issue is that like the first book was mainly the romance and thrown into this war. And so when people complain and they're like, hey, what's this war about? Why? It's like this one explains it, kind of tells you more about it, but then you didn't like it because now it's less love and less Roman and Iris. But then again, for me, when I was reading this, I still saw Roman and Iris. It's just they are dealing with 2 separate sides of the story again. So again, this is another 5-star for me. I love this one. The ending really got to me. Again, the build up in the beginning, it's slow and it's heartbreaking because it's like there is some stuff where you're like, why did it have to be that way, and how is it gonna like kind of resolve itself? But like I said, I love this, and it was very sweet, and it was a good ending, I think, for the series or duology, in my opinion. I really liked it. It was good. So that was another 5-star. And then this one was one that again was in my search to find a 5-star book in 2026. And this one, the video, I started it, but I never finished it in the video. And I'm going to tell you it's because this one took me almost 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to read it. And it was still good, but it was a lot of like, it's just hard to kind of get into. And that book is Curious Tides. This is a YA fantasy sci-fi book. And this one, like I said, I started it and I was getting into it and I was enjoying it, but it was very complex because it has a whole magic system based on the phases of the moon and the tides. And there's different types of magic that you can have. And the one magic that's a little bit unpredictable is the eclipse, whether it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, right? They can get rare magic. And so they get ones that like are unique and different and like never heard of, or like ones that are super like just like wow kind of stuff, right? But like getting to understanding that and then understanding the tragedy that happened in the very beginning of the book, and then understanding what's going on with Emery. The main characters are Emery and Baz. Emery has it where She basically was a sole survivor of an incident at the school. They're at a college for magic. She was the sole survivor. 8 other people died, but she survived. But now she has something else happening. Baz, his sister, who was Emery's best friend, was one of the few that died. And he has eclipse magic. And Eclipse's biggest fear is that they're going to do something called the collapsing, which is basically their magic is going to get so overwhelming that they're basically going to have like a explosion of magic, kind of. And then their veins turn silver, and like there's a whole bunch of like they get sent to this like institute that's kind of like gonna control them and make sure they don't harm anyone, because apparently they say it's harmful. And so Baz and Emery, they knew each other because again Emery was best friends with Baz's sister Romy, or Remy or Romy. Remy or Romy, Remy or Romy, Remy or Romy, Remy or Romy. Doesn't that say? It just says Baz and Emery. But basically, she is dealing with some new stuff that happened after the accident, and Baz is helping her. And then they're trying to figure stuff out and deal with a whole lot of craziness. And it just kind of not really on a cliffhanger, but with like suspense, kind of what's going to happen next. So it wasn't bad. It just took a lot of understanding of what's going on, what's happening, this and that, and like there's people that are like keeping stuff from Emery, and then there's Baz trying to figure stuff out, and like he had one part where it was like crazy and like wow. So I do have the second book, but I don't know if I'm gonna read it soon, because like I said, this one took a long time, and it wasn't that like thick. Like it's thick, but it's not the worst that I've had. So I don't know if I want to go into the next one yet. So, but I don't know if I said it. I think I said it, but that one was 4-star, straight up. Yeah. So I'm trying to think because I had to look at the star ratings before I did this, just so I knew. But I think I'm good. So again, if we're going back to my little heart anagram that I did, like I said, H got axed. This is E. A I read. R I read. But let's go to E. This is E. I should have done it in order. I didn't think. But this is E. E was every sweet thing is bitter. And this one was pretty interesting. This one is very intense. This has, what was her name again? Providence. So Providence is coming back home after being gone for 13 years. And she's coming back because her mother's missing. But the thing is that 13 years ago, the reason she's been gone for so long is she was in prison for attempting to run over her mother with a car. And you kind of find out, like, a lot of people are mad at her and, like, they don't get her and stuff. And, like, she has 2 younger siblings, 2 sisters. And, let's just say they had a very interesting childhood where a lot of them just said, hey, you hit the wrong parents and stuff. And again, Providence very clearly states that, like, again, she wasn't trying to hit her mom, but her mom pushed the person who she was trying to hit out of the way. And then her mom suffered. And then she went to prison, and she was coping with a lot of issues and like trauma and everything. And she's trying to come back so she can help find her mom and kind of clear away some of her guilt and trouble and stuff with it, and like kind of show this. But also she thinks that her dad is the one who kind of made her mom disappear and stuff. So this one, like, it was very interesting. It was very quick to read for me. Like, it was addictive in a sense, but like some of the triggers and some of the talks were a little like hard. Like, I would say definitely read the trigger warnings, and if you're like not okay with certain things, this is not for you. And I do like the fact that the author herself actually had it in the trigger warning where she's like, yes, I want you to read the book, but not if it's gonna like cause an issue with your mental state or happiness and stuff. So really like that. I gave this 3.75. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff where, again, like the town could have done a lot more to help with her and her sister's childhoods and all this. And there's some stuff where, again, it's just like weird and like I don't get why it was brought up. And like the ending was kind of satisfying, but also kind of not in a way. Like there's some stuff where I'm just like, oh, that's so frustrating and annoying and stuff. But like I said, this was quick. This was easy. This was part of my TBR and stuff. And then to roll it off, like I said, I messed up and I should have done it like in order, but I did it in the order I had it in and stuff. So like I said, H gone, E there, A done, R done. T technically was supposed to be Twisted by Emily McIntyre. I didn't do that. Instead, I got Throne of Nightmares, which was a new release on February 10th. And I got it. And then I was putting it off because I wanted to read it really badly, but I was trying to do my TBR and stick to some of it. And some of those too, I was just trying to finish because I was like, I'm in it. I want to finish it. Let me do it. And then I was like, this one I can actually have replaced for Throne of Nightmares being the letter T instead. So that's what I did. And I devoured this book and I love this book. This was also a 5-star book. So like I said, 3 5-star books this month. This one too was so great. What can I say? Like I said, I gotta calm down. And like I said, I finished this one a little while ago, like a week ago, I think, roughly. But I loved it. It was so good. I think what I said was that this is like the perfect book lovers kind of book to where the main character, oh, what is her name again? Lore. Her name is Laura, and the FMC or MMC male character is Sloth, Prince Sloth. And so a lot of people associate Prince Sloth with being just lazy and not wanting to do anything. And it's not really that. It's like they want to do reading. Like his whole castle is kind of a giant library. Where it's not that you don't want to do nothing, but you don't want to do nothing but like gain knowledge and read and like do this. Like you want to be kind of lazy, but in a sense of like reading and like stuff like that. So Lore is a librarian who like reads a lot of books that are like interesting and imaginative. And she goes to this festival and this old lady gives her a stone and then bam, out of nowhere comes Sloth and he goes to her and the stone transports them into like this other world because Sloth is looking for a book to lock away a goddess of nightmares, hence the book Nightmares. And he had it, and then it disappeared, and then he got betrayed, and then he's trying to get it back, and somehow he gets led to Lore, and Lore and him go to this other kind of dimension or planet or island and stuff. And basically, they're going and dealing with these monsters from the nightmare. But then also, there's a trial that Laura is going through, and it has to do with all these different books that she's read and like fears or like things that she has to overcome. And that's where again it's like the book lover's dream because it's like he's like, why do you read this as a comfort? Why is it this? And it's like he's like annoyed because his thing is all logic and like trying to understand certain things. And for her, she's just like, I'm just having a good time reading and stuff. So I, like I said, absolutely love this. Love all of her books in the Prince of Sin series and the Wicked trilogy, Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. So those are my February reads. And like I said, I've already had a good time. Like I said, I may have not read as much, but again, I read some really good books. And that's one thing that I like, is that even though, yeah, I might not be reading as much, I'm reading a lot of books that I'm enjoying and having a good time, and they are near and dear in my heart and always will be. So thank you for watching. If you continue, if you want to watch more, I am posting every Thursday as much as I can. And if you like and subscribe and comment, you can keep up to date with what goes on next. And tell me what you read this month, or technically February, and what you're planning to read next. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.